You're probably not making much money in trading right now. You're probably stagnating, you're probably losing money, your account's not growing. You're confused, you're like, why am I not making any money? Why is this thing not working? So today we're gonna simplify everything. Because most likely the reason you're not making money is because you're overcomplicating everything. You're overcomplicating. You see this pattern on the left? This is probably what you're doing. This is probably what your trading view looks like. You have this chart, you think, oh, if I draw a dinosaur, maybe it's gonna go up. That's probably what you're doing, bro. You may try to incorporate stuff that sounds smart, like ICT concepts, like mean reversion theory, all this stuff, and you think you're making progress when all you're doing is you're just doing stuff which you don't even understand. So today we're gonna simplify this stuff because I do a strategy that's so unbelievably simple and it makes me a crap ton of money. I'm gonna explain what the strategy is. So let's get into it. So this is a quick overview of the trade that I took. From this trade, I think I made about $3,000. Very quick, very simple. It makes sense. No jargon, none of this stuff, right? Quick trade. I entered all the way down over here. When the stock went back up over here, I sold. Very simple stuff. We'll get into it, exactly how I did it. Let's go. Now, if you are inside the community, you can see that you have access to this thing over here. This is like the live trade. So I recorded myself taking the trade and I did a voiceover explaining why I took the trade, when I entered, why I exited. If you want to see it, it's inside the community. So in general, we have two types of people. We have the first person over here, we'll call him the nerd. Now the nerd thinks that he's making progress by reading all these books and like learning all these complex concepts that sound really smart, and he really thinks he's making progress, right? So he'll use big words like mean reversion, hybrid order flow, DOM, POC, all of this stuff, which honestly I don't even understand, right? And he thinks he's making money when he's really not. And then you have the people who are actually making a shit ton of money. And most of the time they have the most simplest methodology, the most simplest strategy. And it's like, why am I wasting my time learning CVD divergences when all I have to do is find a stock that's very strong, has clean support, buy the stock, sell the stock, boom, I make money. Like, what's the point of learning all this other stuff? That's what you begin to realize. And when you make the realization, that's when you start making money. You don't start making money with CVD divergences, I guarantee you, but you will make money if you do the basic stuff which makes sense. So let's get into that stuff. The first thing we're going to talk about is a gapper. This is the bread and butter of the strategy. This is what I trade pretty much every single day. I don't trade Forex or futures or options or crypto. None of that stuff, right? Basic stocks, gappers, this is like bread and butter. So a gapper is pretty much this. You can see this is the daily chart. So you can see the stock, it was going down, down, down for a couple of days. And then one day, randomly, it opened all the way over here. So the day before, it closed over here, but the next day it opened all the way over here. You might ask, okay, why did the stock, randomly open over here? The reason that happens is for multiple reasons, but mainly it's because this company, they shared some news. So maybe they had some big breakthrough, maybe they made a lot of money, maybe they're merging together. Whatever the case may be, the stock went up overnight. So we have this entire move all the way up, right? And you can see, even when it opened, it still went up this much. If you can just capture a tiny percentage of this move over here, if you can just make like capture this amount, that's enough. That's all you need. And if you can do that every single day consistently, just tiny moves, just tiny moves like this, your account is going to start to grow, right? We don't need to capture this entire move. We really don't. We just need a tiny move. That's all we need. That's what's going to make your account grow. So first, we're going to talk about some basics of gap trading, right? This is probably a new concept to some of you. So I'm going to explain some of the main reasons that we trade gappers. The first main reason, like I mentioned, was we want volatile stocks, right? One of the biggest advantages is it's extremely volatile. So when a stock closes over here and the next day it opens up all the way over here, it's going to be very volatile when the market opens, right? Everybody's watching it. Everybody knows it's going up. Everybody has their own thesis. It's going to be extremely volatile. And again, all it needs to do is, it needs to open, let's say it opens over here. It just needs to go up a little bit. You sell, and then that's it. You don't care if it goes up. You don't care if it goes down, because you've made your profit all the way over here. Quick 5-10 minute trade, boom, good to go. So extremely volatile, that's the first main reason. The second reason is, like I mentioned, we want quick moves. We don't want to be staring at the screen for 15 hours a day. You need glasses now, you need all this blue light blocker crap. Quick trades within the first 15 minutes of market open, boom, 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 finish. You can move on with your day. And that's exactly what the third point is. We want to be done trading early. Just wake up in the morning, set an alarm, trade, boom, you're finished, you've made the money, you can continue on with your day. That's the whole idea. So there's 5 main keys to success when you're trading gappers. Now I'll go through all of the 5 steps, step by step. We'll go in depth on every one of them. So first, let's go through step 1. Step 1 is a stock screener. We need to find the gappers in the first place, right? Because your question might be, okay, Drako, I'm sold, but how do I even find the gappers? That's where the stock screener comes in. So a stock screener, there's so many of them. I just use the one that's default on TradingView. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Don't overcomplicate it. The only thing I will say is you need a minimum gap percentage of like 20%. So this is a screener right over here. You can see the ticker, you can see the description, you can see the gap. The minimum we have over here is 20%. I don't want to see a stock that's gapping up 6% or 2%. It's not significant enough for other people to be like, what's this? Why is this gapping up? If it's 20%, I've noticed that people are like, okay, this is interesting. Let's think about it. Let's maybe trade it, right? That's all you need to do. Very simple. Step number 1, that's it. Step number 2 is to create a watch list. So like I said, when you have all of these stocks over here, we're not going to be trading each and every single one of them. We're going to be looking through each and every single one of their stock charts, analyzing which ones are correct, and the ones that we want, we're only going to be trading those. So for example, let's say we analyze these stock charts and we figure out, you know what, this one, SPFM, doesn't look good, I'm not going to trade it. This one doesn't look good either. This one looks decent, I might trade that. This one doesn't look good. This one looks decent, this one looks decent, not good, and not good. So now we've made a watch list of these 3 stocks right over here. So we're only going to be watching these 3 stocks when market opens, right? That's how simple it is. Right? And now you might ask, okay, so what do I analyze pre-market? So the first thing you need is obviously a support level. And the second thing you need is you need a stock with a small float. You don't want stocks with hundreds of millions of shares floating because they're not going to move anywhere. So for example, on the next slide, you can see this stock is terrible. It has almost 0 volume, like nothing's going up. There's barely any volume. There's no support level. It's very messy. So when the stock opens, it's just going to go sideways, or worst case scenario, it'll just like dump all the way down. We would never want to trade this stock. This one, on the other hand, you can see that there's a lot of volume coming in. You can see that there's clear support at this level over here. That's why I've marked this with the blue line. And you can see when the market opens, this might go up, right? So that's like the whole idea of this filtering section. The next step is to obviously buy. So once we've marked out support levels, once we've watch listed, once we have like 1, maybe 2 stocks that we're going to be watching when the market opens, the next thing we want to do obviously is buy. So we want to wait for support. We never want to enter the stock as soon as market opens, right? So let's assume this stock opens. We just don't want to immediately buy. We want to wait until it gets closer to this blue line. So let's assume this blue line is until here, and let's assume the stock opens over here. We don't want to buy once it opens over here. We want to wait for the stock to kind of go down a little bit until it gets closer to here. Then we want to wait for a bunch of volume to start surging in, and then we want to buy. And then hopefully it goes back up. We sell over here, and then that's it. We're done trading for the day. We don't care if it goes up. We don't care if it goes down because we've made the profit that we need to make. This is our profit. That's the whole idea of buying. So for this trade, this is exactly where I bought. This is the support level from before we talked about. The stock started going down slowly. It hit the support level exactly. A bunch of volume came in, and that's exactly where I entered right over here. That's how simple it is. Once you've bought, obviously the next step is to sell. There's a couple of different reasons why I'd sell. The most common one I'd say is this one over here, the pre-market high. Although I use all of these to be honest, but the most common one is definitely this one. Now the first is VWAP resistance. So for example here, VWAP is above over here. This pink line over here you can see is VWAP. So this isn't the best example, but let's assume that the stock opened up all the way down over here, right? If it starts surging upwards, I might decide to sell when it touches VWAP, right? That's kind of what VWAP resistance means. The next one is pre-market high. I've talked about this before. The highest point in pre-market is over here. Therefore, this is the pre-market high. So if I bought over here, I might want to sell when the stock hits this level over here. That's the pre-market high. The next one is half dollar, whole dollar resistance. So you can see the price is like 46 cents, 48 cents, 50 cents. So the next major resistance is going to be 50 cents over here, right? So I'm going to sell if the stock starts surging back up, hits this level 50 cents, I'm going to sell. Those are like the 3 main reasons I'd sell. Right? I would never just sell because I have a timer on or I'm just nervous, I'm panicking. It's always for a specific reason. That's what I'm trying to say. So for this stock specifically, I sold right over here. I saw that there was a bunch of resistance in pre-market. You can see resistance over here, resistance over here, resistance over here. It's getting close to the 50 cents. There's resistance over there. So when I saw a bunch of selling volume at this level, that's when I sold, right? So I'm always selling with a purpose. I'm never selling because I got nervous or I'm scared. I'm always selling with a purpose. That's the main idea. And that was the whole trade. It took maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and that was it. That's the whole trade. That's how simple the strategy is. No mean reversion, no CBD divergences. Very simple stuff. It makes sense. Now, the last step is when you're starting out with this strategy, don't go in with real money, right? Or even worse, don't go in with your whole account, right? When you're starting the strategy, make sure you use a paper account, right? Just use a fake simulator so you can practice the strategy. Once you get better, that's when you can go in with real money. Another thing that's very important, and nobody does this, is you need to analyze every trade that you make. I've noticed people in the community, they also say that journaling their trades, every single one of their trades, it's very helpful. Because it really is, right? If you don't analyze any of your trades, if you just like see, okay, I bought, then I sold, and you're never gonna make progress. Because you're never gonna know your mistakes. But once you journal everything, your wins, even your losses, you journal everything, you can start analyzing every single trade and get better as the trades go on. Now I'll show you some proof that this works for me and a bunch of others. So this is the community, the Drako room. So you can see inside, people are making wins pretty much every single day. This guy made $146. OLVR made $946. This guy made $1,200. This guy's showing his entry and exit. This guy made $24, $248, $1,000, $224, $2,000, $1,000. People are making wins almost every single day. When you join the community, you also get a course right over here. You also get an FAQ section. You also get my watch list. This is like the main thing. So every single day except Tuesdays, I tell everybody the stocks that I'm gonna be trading. So I'm like, okay, this looks interesting to me. This is a support level. This looks interesting to me. This is the support level. So I tell everybody the stocks that I'm looking at and the exact support level. So I do all the work for you. You don't need to go to the gap scanner or manually try and find supports because I do all of that for you. Also, when you're inside, you also get access to all of my trade reviews. So every single trade that I make, whether it's a win, it's a loss, you can see some of them are wins, some of them are losses. Every single trade that I make, I always make a video explaining why I took the trade, where I bought the stock, where I sold the stock, how much I made, why I chose the stock, etc. I go through literally everything in these trade reviews. You can find all of them inside over here. So if you want to join the community, click the first link in the description now to join for free. I am going to be closing the group soon to just focus on the members inside. So if you want to get in, this is your best time to do it. See you inside. If you guys want to watch a video where I explain exactly how I'm profiting while the market crashes, click the video that just popped up. It goes through the strategy. It tells you why even when the market crashes, the strategy still works. Go check that video out. And as always, guys, subscribe, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.